Hello.
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 My dude. And welcome to another video. In this video, we're gonna cover everything you need to know before your very first drag race. What you need to bring, what to expect when you get there, your very first pass, reading time slips, as well as some tips and tricks that just might get you into the winner's circle. All that and more coming up on Track Tips. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about what you need to go drag racing. You need a car, obviously. Any car, any truck, any motorcycle is pretty much going to be okay to go drag racing. You're probably going to be starting out with a street car, so a lot of this video is going to be aimed towards that person who's got themselves a new street car, or they're borrowing their mom's car, or what have you. You're going to the track for the very first time. You want to know what it's all about before you get there so you don't look like a fool. Your car does not have to be fast. It just has to be consistent. And you're probably gonna hear me say that multiple times throughout this video. You're also gonna need to bring some gear with you: a helmet, closed-toed shoes, long pants, a seat belt. I guess it's hard to not bring a seat belt with you, but you have to have it, you have to wear it. Some shoe polish or a window marker of some kind so that you can put your driver number on the side of your car. And your driver's license. I guess they wanna make sure you can drive on the street before they put you on the track. So bring your driver's license along. All right, so you made it to the track, you have your car, you have all of your gear. What can you expect when you get there? When you first get to the track, you're going to pay at the gate. This is where you're gonna go through and you're gonna tell the person at the gate whether or not you're racing. If you tell them that you're going to be racing, you're gonna need to get a tech card and you will have to pay for that. Normally the person at the gate will be able to help you figure out what class you should be in, whether you're just gonna be doing test and tune for the night or you're gonna be getting in some sort of street car class. Whatever it is, they should be able to help you out at the front gate. So you will pay there and you will get your tech card. When you make it through the gate, you wanna find yourself some sort of a pit spot or a parking spot or something where you can stop, and you want to fill out as much of that tech card as you can. Just fill out all the information that you know, do the best you can on that, and then you're going to want to proceed to the tech line or the tech inspection area. Just ask one of the track personnel if you don't know where to go to get to tech, but normally there's plenty of signs and clear markings, so head on over to tech inspection. When you do go to tech inspection, make sure you bring all of your gear with you, as well as turn off your air conditioner, and they will remind you of this probably many times. They don't want your air conditioner on. You can't have your air conditioner on when you're on the track because the condensation is going to drip on the track and you don't want any of that on the track surface. So make sure that you bring all your gear with you and you turn off your air conditioner and head to tech. Tech inspection might sound scary, but it's really nothing to worry about. They're just gonna give your car a once over. They're checking for things like, is the battery mounted properly, and just to make sure you're not leaking any fluids or you're not gonna get any sort of fluids on the track surface. So that's just mainly what they're checking over. It's nothing to worry about. As soon as you make it through tech, they should give you a car number. You're gonna wanna make sure that you post that on the side of your car so that the tower can read it, and then just return to your pit area and wait for your call to the staging lanes. Once they do call your class to the staging lanes, you make it up to the head of the lanes, it's time to go down the track for the first time. The first thing that you're gonna be doing is a burnout. If this is your first time at the track, you're most likely going to be running street tires. So if you're running street tires, you're not gonna be doing a huge burnout, probably at most going to be a small little tire spin just to kind of clean off the surface of the tires. There's going to be a water box, and you can choose to either drive through the water box or you can try to drive around the water box. I see a lot of people with street cars driving around the water box, and the reason people do this is so that their front tires don't get logged with a bunch of water and they end up dragging all this water all the way up to the starting line. So do whatever you need to do to make sure you're not dragging water up to the starting line. This might mean you drive around the water box and possibly back into the water box, or you maybe just drive around the water box and spin the tires a little bit on the dry surface if you can. You definitely don't want there to be any water remaining on your tires when you're going down the track, and you definitely don't want to drag any water up there so that other drivers have to drive through it either. Burnouts can be very different for all the different styles of vehicles, and I've already made a video covering proper burnout strategy, so I will leave a link to that in the description below if you'd like to learn more about burnouts. Staging! Let's talk about it. After you do your burnout, you're going to slowly pull your car up to the starting line. there's going to be two beams going across the track. The first one is called the pre-stage beams, and the second one is called the stage beams. When you roll your car forward enough that it breaks the pre-stage beams, the first set of bulbs on the top of the Christmas tree are going to illuminate. When you pull your car far enough that you break the second set of beams, the stage beams, the second set of bulbs on the top of the Christmas tree are going to illuminate. You want to slowly approach these beams. You don't want to wheel up there and send it right through and illuminate both beams right away. You'll look like a fool. Don't do that. What you want to do is a thing called courtesy staging. Courtesy staging is pretty much the best practice type of staging at any race that I've ever experienced. Each car is going to take turns pre-staging, staging, and staging. That's how courtesy staging works. So don't just roll in there, light your pre-stage, and then immediately light your stage before the other car is even in the pre-stage. You're gonna wanna pre-stage, let the other guy pre-stage, then you can go ahead and stage.
You gotta be courteous about it.
Once both drivers are fully staged, the tree is activated, and it's time to race. So when the tree drops, it's time to launch your car. As you probably already know, if you want to win races, you need to have a good reaction time. So when a lot of people first get started, they wait for the green bulb to turn on before they launch their car. What you actually want to do is launch the car off of the third amber bulb. The idea here is that you have your human reaction time, as well as all the time it takes your car to react and actually move forward enough to exit the stage beams. Your car isn't going to instantly be out of the stage beams as soon as you stab the throttle. There's some amount of time there that needs to be taken up. What you need to do is practice as many times as you can and learn where on that tree, when those lights are coming down, where on that tree do you need to stab the throttle so that your car is exiting the stage beams right as that green light comes on. The best way to understand this is to think about like the perfect scenario. Right as that green bulb turns on, you have already reacted, you've already stabbed the throttle, and your car has already rolled forward enough to where the tire has gone all the way through that stage beam, and it's just about to exit that stage beam right after the green light comes on. That's like the ultimate situation. That's what you're going for. But if you wait for that green light to come on, you're not gonna have your car reacting and moving fast enough, and you're gonna have a terrible reaction time. So you really need to practice this and figure out where on that tree you need to react. So as you're heading down the track, keep the pedal to the metal, but also listen to your car. Make sure there's nothing going wrong with your car. If everything sounds normal, that's great, pedal to the metal. But if it sounds kind of weird, if there's something like serious going wrong with your car, listen to that and definitely pull over to the side of the track. Now, the only reason I even mention this is because I've seen so many inexperienced drivers actually have like a catastrophic failure with their vehicles, and they just drive all the way down the track and get off on the return road. They're not doing anybody any favors by getting off of the track. What you need to do is pull over and slow down immediately, because you could save hours of cleanup time. You could save everybody literally hours of cleanup time if you just pull over and let all of the fluids leak out on the track in one spot instead of tracking it down the entire quarter mile. So after you reach the finish line, you're gonna wanna slow down and take the return road to exit off of the track surface. Once you're coming down the return road, you're gonna wanna look for something called the ET shack. That's like the technical term for it. The ET shack is where you're going to be getting your time slip. So stop there and get your time slip. They're going to need to be able to read your car number, so make sure that your car number is legible for the ET shack person as well. Otherwise, be prepared to recite it to them, I guess, if they can't find it, because they need to make sure they're giving you the right time slip. All right, so you've completed your first pass, you got your time slip, and you returned to your pit space. Now it's time to read through your time slip. The first bit of critical information on the time slip is your reaction time. This is normally designated by an RT on the time slip. So it's gonna be measured in seconds, and it's literally telling you what your reaction time is. How much time passed between when the green light turned on and your car exited the stage beam. Reaction time has no effect at all on your elapsed time. It doesn't matter if you sit on the starting line for 10 minutes and you don't even move. The green light's just sitting on for like ever, and then you finally launch a car and you go and do a 10-second pass or something amazing like that. You're gonna get 10 seconds on your time slip, not 10 minutes plus 10 seconds. Your ET timers do not start until you have exited the stage beam. Your reaction time is going to be terrible if you do this, but your ET will not be affected. 60 foot is going to be the next thing on the time slip, and this is very, very critical. Your 60 foot is your primary indicator of how well you launch the car off the line. How consistent you get off the line plays a huge role in how consistent your car is in the quarter mile. If you're inconsistent getting off the line, that inconsistency grows exponentially. Exponentially? Exponentially. It gets a lot worse in the quarter mile. The time slip also has other incrementals, 330 feet, 660 feet, which is an 1/8 mile, 1,000 foot, and finally 1320 or a quarter mile. ET stands for elapsed time, and it's the amount of seconds between when your car left the stage beams and it crossed the finish line. The mile per hour is your trap speed, which of course is the miles per hour that your car reached at the finish line. Obviously. All right, now let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes here. Let's talk about winning races. First of all, these tips are not going to be about how to go faster and make your changes to your car to get a better speed, or there's a million other channels, there's a million other videos you can look at to make your car go faster. These tips are about getting better at the drag race. I'm talking about turning on win lights. First tip, just be consistent. It doesn't matter how fast you are. And first of all, how cool is it when you take your mom's station wagon out and you beat some guy who's got like the most high-end sports car you've ever seen in your mom's station wagon? It don't get any better than that. So just be consistent. It does not matter how fast you are. As soon as you figure that out, that's when you're gonna start turning some win lights on. Now, if you're a beginner and this is your first time at the track, don't worry about your car. You need to work on yourself as a driver. Do not work on your car when you're at the track. Don't worry about how it's running or how fast it's going. Just worry about how you're performing as a driver. Now, the most critical thing about being consistent, of course, is the launch. You have to have a consistent launch if you want to have a consistent pass. So think about things like, does your car launch perfectly from a dead idle? Or do you need to rev it up a little bit and then launch the car? Those are things you should be experimenting with as a driver to get yourself an optimum launch and a consistent launch. Does your car have traction control? Turn it off. You don't want traction control on at the racetrack. Traction control is going to be a source of more inconsistency. First of all, you should have very, very limited tire slip on a well-prepped racetrack anyways. And even if your car thinks that your tires are gonna slip and they don't slip, the traction control is still gonna be taking power away and it's gonna be causing inconsistent results for you out on the track. So turn your traction control off. Second tip here is to work on your reaction time. Practice this over and over as many times as you can. Take as many hits at the tree as they'll give you in the beginning. Focus on learning where on the tree that you should be launching your car to yield the best and most consistent reaction times. A lot of times in the lower level street car classes that I watch, I see huge gaps in reaction times from one driver to the other. So you definitely want to be the guy who has their reaction times dialed in that day. You're gonna have a lot better chance at success. In short, just do everything you can to be as consistent as possible. This might mean thinking about shift points, or your engine temperature, or your tire pressure. Once you're done with your test and tune passes and you're ready to actually compete, there shouldn't be any more messing around with any of these things. Just make sure that you do everything the same, you have everything set the same every single time from burnout to finish line. All right guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you were able to learn something and I hope you now feel confident and prepared to make your first pass down the drag strip. As always, make sure you leave any questions or comments down below. I read every single one of them and I'd love to hear from you guys. Until next time, please consider subscribing for all kinds of drag racing content. Keep turning them win lights on and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.